Right friends, welcome back to Q&A discussion, and the next session, that is a 12th session, will be on Thursday. Tomorrow there will not be any session because time is required for preparing questions on our own, and second thing is economy and economic survey. These are to be completed before June 10th. So, to look into all these aspects, next session will be on Thursday, and I will complete all 30 sessions prior to your examination. Today we are into 11th session, and I would like to prepare questions something different. So, let us look at the first one. Animal Welfare Board of India is quite frequently in the news, and look at the following sentences. This Animal Welfare Board of India came into the news because of recent incidents like Kambala, Jellikattu, and now it is the statutory body established under the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960. Absolutely correct. Late Srimati Rukmani Devi Arundel is associated with Animal Welfare Board of India. She was associated with this as founding chairperson, and she was associated with this organization more than 20 years or so. Then it is advisory body, please understand, it has got advisory jurisdiction. It has got 28 members, but headquartered in Chennai. So, these things are very, very important. If you look at Animal Welfare Board of India, then look at the following with regard to the animal welfare. Why I have taken this question is, quite often this animal welfare was into the news. All of you are familiar with Jellikattu, Kambala, and if you look at this, fundamental duties under Article 51 AG provides for protecting and improving the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers and wildlife. Here it is under fundamental duties. Under fundamental duties, this is one of the fundamental duties which provides for protecting and improving the natural environment, which include wildlife also. So, to have compassion for living creatures is included under fundamental duties in the constitution. Second point is, prevention of cruelty to animals is in the concurrent list. Very important. That is why center brought the act, and based on that act, Animal Welfare Board of India was established, and prevention of cruelty to animals is in the concurrent list, whereas preservation, protection, improvement of stock and prevention of animal diseases, veterinary training are in the state list. Please understand them carefully. You may get bored with these three types of sentences, I know very well, but it is required. So, first sentence is correct, second sentence is correct, and another important aspect is, as per the constitution, states by law endow the panchayats with the powers and authority for economic development for the issues pertaining to animal husbandry, dairying and poultry. So, these are included in the 11th schedule. So, here animal husbandry, dairying and poultry, in fact, state governments can endow the panchayats with powers and authority for development of the items pertaining to animal husbandry, dairying and poultry, right. So, all three correct. Bombay Natural History Society, in fact, one of our friends suggested about these organizations yesterday. Mr. Mukesh Kumar suggested about Bombay Natural History Society and Animal Welfare Board of India, Survey of India. So, because of his advice, I included these three questions which will be beneficial to the student community. Here Bombay Natural History Society, it was started by 8 amateur naturalists, that is correct, but 2 were Indians, only 2 were Indians out of 8. So, the first sentence is wrong. It is into the field to further the tasks of research, conservation and nature education. So, it is into research, conservation and nature education covering diverse habitats like forests. Please understand carefully, because Bombay Natural History Society is quite often in the news, and here it covers diverse habitats like forests, grasslands, mountains, deserts and marine areas, right. So, this is correct. If you look at the third one, Dr. Salim Ali was associated with Bombay Natural History Society for a long time, absolutely correct. And funding pattern includes from some of the departments of Government of India also. So, this is wrong. Please understand, funding pattern for Bombay Natural History Society includes funding from some of the departments of Government of India. So, 2 only correct here. Then Technology Development Board is quite often in the news. What is this Technology Development Board? And please understand, it is a statutory body, it is not executive body. First one is wrong. And second one is, it provides financial assistance to the industrial concerns for the development and commercialization of indigenous technology. If some indigenous technology is developed in our country, then it gives financial support and to the industrial areas, or you can say it gives financial assistance for the development and commercialization of indigenously developed technology, right. This is very important. This is Technology Development Board. Then third one is, it is under the Ministry of Science and Technology, not under Niti Aayog. So, 2 only is correct. Then Survey of India. This is the apex organization which advises Indian government on all survey matters, completed 250 years of its existence. It completed 250 years of its existence. And look at the following sentences. This is also important from examination perspective. It is the oldest scientific department of Government of India, most important. It is under the Ministry of Science and Technology. Then it is headquartered in Dehradun. Then it produces topographic maps on various scales, and maps are also available for sale, right. Here all 4 are correct. So, please look at the Survey of India, right. Look into the next one. During 2016, foreign remittances to India declined. This is the recent news item. During 2016, foreign remittances to India declined by nearly 9% to around $63 billion. Previously, they used to be around 68, 69, 70 billion dollars. They came down. Look at the following sentences. India continue to be the largest remittance receiving country worldwide. Absolutely correct. India still the largest remittance receiving country. Second one is low oil prices in Gulf countries and weak economic growth. You can say GCC countries, low oil prices and weak economic growth is one of the major reason, because from our country several people are in mostly blue collar workers, working as blue collar workers in Gulf countries, and low oil prices as well as weak economic growth resulted in the lessening of foreign remittances to our country, right. Second is also correct. Third one, if remittances fall, what will happen? The current account deficit will increase. So, this is wrong, and these remittances are also known as unilateral transfers. Son sending money to father, that is unilateral transfer. So, 1, 2 and 4. Look at the following: increase in oil prices, decrease in services exports like computer related, increase in FDI, increase in FPI. Which of the above affect current account deficit? This increase in oil prices, decrease in services exports like computer related, these two will affect current account deficit, right. So, here 1 and 2, here these two comes under capital account. Please understand. Great Barrier Reef is in the news, and look at the following sentences. I am not asking the question, where is it, like that. Here contextually, please understand here. Coral reefs, because a question is expected, you should have clear idea about what is happening to the Great Barrier Reef. Coral reefs are large underwater structures composed of skeletons of coral. So, coral reefs compose of the skeletons of coral which are marine invertebrate animals. These are marine invertebrate animals in the class Anthozoa of phylum Cnidaria. So, this is technical term, please understand it because from examination perspective, and each individual coral animal is known as a polyp, and most live in groups of hundreds of thousands of genetically identified polyps that form a colony. So, please look into this structure picture here. These are corals, and you see here this is zooxanthellae algae. Here these are corals, these are zooxanthellae algae, and because of stress due to rise in surface temperatures or due to pollution, whatever the reason, what happens, this zooxanthellae algae will be expelled. This zooxanthellae algae will be expelled from the coral, which is known as coral bleaching. And here these two, this zooxanthellae algae as well as these corals will maintain symbiotic relationship with the zooxanthellae. So, this polyps have got symbiotic relationship with the zooxanthellae algae. You may have a doubt, what is the meaning of symbiotic relationship? Here you see algae in the coral polyp. This algae produce oxygen and organic products for the polyp. So, here this polyp, or you can say corals, they take oxygen as well as organic products from the algae. Now, what the algae will get? Algae will get carbon dioxide from the coral polyps. So, here coral polyps produce carbon dioxide for the algae and give protection. So, it is a symbiotic relationship. This oxygen produced by the algae will be taken along with organic products will be taken by this polyp, and whereas coral polyps produce carbon dioxide, and this gives protection to the algae, right. So, that is why it is known as a symbiotic relationship. Look at the sentences. This is very important. Coral reefs are large underwater structures composed of skeletons of coral, which are marine invertebrate animals in the class of Anthozoa of phylum Cnidaria. Second one is, each individual coral animal is called a polyp, and most live in groups of hundreds to thousands of genetically identical polyps that form a colony. Then shallow water corals depend on zooxanthellae algae. What I told you, symbiotic relationship. This zooxanthellae algae is single celled and makes food from the sun's energy and passes on to the corals, and hence algae and corals have symbiotic relationship. All three correct, but this is most important. Please understand this mechanism. What exactly coral bleaching? Coral bleaching occurs because of excessive nutrients flowing in because of the pollution, or you can say because of runoff when excessive nutrients are flowing into the ocean. Then second thing is when excessive pollutants are flowing into the ocean. Third thing is mostly because of this rise in sea water temperatures because of climate change, right. Government brought IIP base on updated base year of 2011-12. I will produce one small capsule on this IIP and WPI changes, and for the time being please understand, more weightage is given for manufacturing, almost 2 point weightage is increased. Electricity weightage got reduced by around 2 points. Then electricity generation includes production from renewable sources also, this is very important change. And use based classification changed from basic goods to primary goods, as well as new category of infrastructure or construction goods is included. So, these 4 changes most important, all of the above. Next one is second generation biofuels are quite frequently in the news. This is very important question. What is the first generation biofuel, second generation biofuel? If you look at first generation ethanol, they are very easily produced from sugars and vegetable oils found in arable crops. So, this first generation ethanol can be produced from sugarcane, can be produced from corn, even it can be produced from wheat, and this is the process which is known as fermentation or simple conventional process. So, that is very easy also. But what is the disadvantage of producing ethanol through conventional process? Because of conventional process, what happens? It will affect the food security. So, under these circumstances, second generation ethanol assumed a lot of significance, and it is made from agriculture waste, then woody crops, residues of agriculture waste. So, all these things which we throw out, they will be used for producing this ethanol, which is known as second generation ethanol. But most important aspect is it is not easy to extract second generation ethanol. Second generation ethanol extraction is difficult, right? So, this is very easy, this is difficult. So, this is wrong. So, 1 and 2 correct. So, please understand the difference between what is meant by first generation ethanol, what is meant by second generation ethanol. Real Estate Regulation and Development Act came into force, and look at the following sentences. Why the central government interfered? Here you see the first one, land is in the state list, absolutely correct. States have enacted laws to regulate real estate projects, right? And the new act of the central government will override the provisions of these state laws in case of any inconsistencies. And what is the main purpose of Central Act? The main purpose of Central Act to interfere into real estate is to regulate contracts and transfer of property, both of which are in the concurrent list. So, why is the central government interfered? Because of the reason, the primary aim of the Central Government Act is to regulate contracts and transfer of property, both are in the concurrent list, right? So, all three are correct. Land is in the state list, states have enacted laws to regulate real estate projects, and the new act of the center will override the provisions of these state laws in case of any inconsistencies. But why the center involved is the primary aim of the Central Act is to regulate contracts and transfer of property. Here in the real estate, or you can say when I am purchasing a flat, here contract is involved between the contractor and me. At the same time, transfer of property is involved, and both are in the concurrent list. So, as to give more teeth for this contracts as well as transfer of property, central government intervened. Next one is, look at the following sentences regarding central sector and centrally sponsored schemes. Here, centrally sponsored schemes were reduced drastically. They came down from around 60 or so to at present maybe around 28. I am not sure about the exact number. And another important aspect is central sector schemes were also reduced drastically. So, during the past 3 years, not only centrally sponsored schemes, but also central sector schemes are also reduced drastically. So, the first one is wrong because it is given central sector schemes were increased, it is not correct, both reduced drastically. So, what is the advantage? Advantage is the reduction of central sector schemes ensures better allocation of resources and improved efficiency of government programs. So, better allocation of resources is possible and improved efficiency of government programs is possible. Look at the next one. A consolidated outcome budget was presented to the parliament as part of the budget documents. First one is Niti Aayog is associated with the formulation of outcome budget. Yes, Niti Aayog associated with the formulation of outcome budget, and each scheme now have a start date and a sunset date, right? Co-terminus with the finance commission cycle. So, each scheme will have the start date and sunset date, that means completion date. Co-terminus, co-terminus means it coincides when two agreements have got similar end date, that is the meaning of co-terminus. This is correct, this is correct. Third one is third party evaluation has also been built in the appraisal and approval framework to ensure periodic feedback. So, most important aspect is third party evaluation was incorporated, right. Third one, this D is right answer. Price Stabilization Fund. What is the meaning of Price Stabilization Fund? Price Stabilization Fund is meant for intervention to control the prices, right. This was previously under the Ministry of Agriculture, now it is under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, very important. Then the next one is government notified cash transfer of food subsidy rules 2015, under which food subsidy is directly credited into the account of beneficiaries, and which of the following are the states or union territories where this is being implemented. This means directly food subsidy is being credited into the bank account of the beneficiaries, and this is being implemented in Chandigarh as well as Puducherry and Dadra and Nagar Haveli, if I am not wrong. So, this directly food subsidy is being credited into the account of beneficiaries, and this is being implemented in Chandigarh, Puducherry as well as Dadra and Nagar Haveli, right. Then the next one is, quite often we come across ring fencing. What is the meaning of ring fencing? I will tell you with one example. Suppose one company, Kingfisher Airlines, let us assume Kingfisher Airlines started one bank, then that bank is to be protected. If Kingfisher Airlines fails, then bank should not collapse. Though the bank is a subsidiary of Kingfisher Airlines, when Kingfisher Airlines collapses, then nothing should happen to its subsidiary bank. So, that mechanism is known as this ring fencing. So, here it is separating certain businesses financially from a parent company, so as to protect the consumers of the regulated entity. I think the example is clear to you. If the parent company fails, then the subsidiary should not. Similarly, this ring fencing we hear several times, right. So, we will discuss some more with some more examples in future. Nativism is quite often in the news. Which of the following describes nativism? Here, this is the political idea that people who were born in a country are more important than immigrants. So, nativism means nowadays people are talking about protectionism, nativism, nationalism. Yesterday we discussed about protectionism. Today this word is nativism. Nativism is quite often in the news, and which of the following aptly describes the meaning of nativism? The political idea that people who were born in a country are more important than immigrants. Then the next one is sunrise industry is quite often in the news. Look at the following sentences. Sunrise sector is the sector in its infancy, but growing at a rapid pace. There is a scope for a lot of growth, but it is at the beginning. You can say online education may be sunrise industry, right. It normally have high growth rates, natural, because there is a lot of potential for growth, and it will have numerous startups, number of startups will come up. So, these are the traits of sunrise industry. At the same time, venture capital funding is also available in quite abundance. So, all three are correct. So, please understand about sunrise industry. In fact, yesterday we discussed about number of words. So, I am trying to introduce more and more new words in future also. Next one is, we come across the word sunset clause quite often. Which of the following is apt to indicate the sunset clause? What is the meaning of sunset clause? Sunset clause means rules, regulations, laws only applicable up to a specific date, and after so and so date they will not be applicable. That is the meaning of sunset clause. Then which of the following is aimed at correcting regional imbalances in the availability of reliable tertiary health care services? Here it is, Pradhanmantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. Here the main purpose of Pradhanmantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana is to make available tertiary healthcare services. That is why it is augmenting several important hospitals across the country. At the same time, it is establishing AIIMS like institutions across the country, so that the super specialty care must be available quite nearer to the common man. That is the goal of Pradhanmantri Swasthya Suraksha Yojana. Right friends, this concludes today's Q&A discussion, and we will meet on Thursday for the next session, that is the 12th. So, there will not be any live lectures tomorrow, and we will meet on Thursday. So, this schedule will continue up to 30 sessions. Have a nice day. Thank you.